Today, I'm going to teach you how to buy a 3 million revenue business for free. Check this out. I want to tell you about my friend James. He completed an acquisition that totally blew my mind and changed how I think of acquisitions in small business. Here's a little bit of background. James has been in the marketing industry for a decade now. He knows marketing companies really well. So he's been looking for businesses to buy. A couple of years ago, he found a business that was doing 3.1 million of gross revenue. It had 3 founders, but the business was shrinking. In 2022, it did 3.1 million of gross revenue. In 2023, the following year, it did 2.8 million of gross revenue. The business had been listed for sale for about a year by the time James saw it. James talked to one of the co-founders of the business, and he learned that he'd had a fallout with the other 2 founders and was looking to sell the business so that everyone could go their own separate ways. They were asking for $1.5 million through a broker, but the broker had not been able to find a good buyer for them, and their exclusivity period with that broker had ended, which means they didn't owe that broker any more fees and they could be more flexible about the type of deal that they took. James was a little bit hesitant about the business because it was small and shrinking in size year over year, which is never a good indicator. But after spending a little bit of time getting to know the business, the founders, the company culture, he thought there could be something interesting here. But he wasn't excited to put down a lot of money and potentially lose a lot of money in the process. James was thinking of walking away, but he decided last minute to try a Hail Mary. James offered them $0 for the business up front. He offered to pay them a percentage of EBITDA over the next 4 years. In fact, he offered to pay him the majority of the profits from the business for the next 4 years. He offered them 56.25% of EBITDA after some back and forth negotiations. This offer meant that if the business continued trending downwards the way it had been recently and it failed, James would lose nothing except for some time and maybe his legal fees. However, if the business turned around and was successful and was able to hit the projections that the founders were sharing with him, then everyone would win. The founders would get their $1.5 million and James would end up owning the business. The founders of the company came back to James and asked for 50% of the business up front and the rest as an earnout. James responded by saying, "This is the deal. I'm happy to leave the door open for you, but unfortunately this is my final offer." 48 hours later, James got an email. The founders had agreed to the deal. The next step that James took is really important too, so pay attention. In most situations, he would send over a lawyer form with a stock purchase agreement or an asset purchase agreement. And then their lawyer would review it, and they would go back and forth for weeks, and maybe the deal would fall apart. In fact, oftentimes the deals do fall apart at this stage. Instead, James pulled together a very simple asset purchase agreement. And then he asked the founders to sit together on a video call, and he walked through line by line to figure out what was important to him and what was important to them. And he edited right there on the fly. Just ensure that everyone got their input in and they got to discuss any roadblocks immediately. Now you may be wondering, why would the owners of a business that's generating almost 3 million in revenue per year take an offer to sell their business with $0 down? As a buyer, you need to put yourself in the shoes of sellers. There's many, many reasons that a seller may sell a business. In this situation, it sounds like the 3 founders were no longer getting along, and they were simply looking for a way to part ways amicably and also get paid for all of their hard work and effort. Maybe they were tired of running the business, running payroll, or one of the other million different things that you have to do as an owner. And keep in mind that James here is a professional at buying and managing marketing agencies. Those 3 founders may believe that James could be a better owner for their business. James will be incentivized in order to grow the business, and he knows how to do that really well. What are some takeaways if you're looking to buy a business? First and foremost, come up with the right offer and make sure that you're firm. You don't want to go back and forth constantly changing your offer. It's a waste of time and you're going to lose negotiation leverage along the way. If you're looking to buy a business for free, you're not going to be able to buy a perfect business that's growing, that has a ton of profit. You're going to need to buy something that's in a bit of trouble and that needs a turnaround. I recommend that you review the asset purchase agreement, which is your contract to buy and sell the business, with the sellers live. Present it to them, walk through line by line, edit any passages that you think could be roadblocks, and discuss anything that is a potential issue. And remember, Time kills all deals. So if you're getting a good deal, make sure to move quickly. In this situation for James, where his down payment was $0, he didn't have to do any diligence. His price was his diligence. Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully you learned something valuable today. Remember, nothing here is investment advice. Make sure you always do your own research before you buy or invest in anything. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe for more just like this one, and have a great day.